Welcome back to Garage Tuning, where if you were here for part one, you know that we got a tuner for the Daytona, and that means you're here for part two, where it has been tuned. So in this video, we're going to be going over what the BT Moto tuner did to the bike, what changes I can feel, as well as if you stick around for the end, we're going to do a couple polls and compare them side by side with what it was pre-tune, what it is post-tune. Did it actually make it any quicker that you're going to notice while riding around the street? Did it do anything at all? Well, I can spoil that for you. It did, and I think this was a great modification for this Daytona. I'll tell you what, the little carbon fiber accents, perfect with the red. We got our carbon fender there. We got our carbon tail, which this winter we're going to be building a new tail because this did not turn out great. Also, the blinkers on it don't work. It's a long story. They're there, they don't work. This bike's stupid. And we got a little carbon tip on the exhaust, which I think I might be pulling that baffle out of there maybe soonish. Because now that it's been tuned, it should be accommodated for it without that. Plus, it sounds cooler without it. You know, we got to make more noise. Got to let people know how much power my little 600 has. Alright, rather than just sitting around talking about it, why don't we go for a little ride. And I'm going to talk about the things that I notice immediately that have been changing in the bike, as well as why I think you should get a tuner for your Daytona. But BT Moto also offers tuner for not just the Daytona. So if you have other bikes, I know from what it looked like they did a lot of Triumphs. They also have like all of the like, new Ducatis, Yamaha, Kawasaki. You know, they've got quite a few bikes on their roster of tuners. But I know that they do a lot of Triumphs, as well as I believe they're the first company to offer tunes for the new Daytonas. So that's why I went with them, because they were my only option. But they've been great so far. If you do want to get any BT Moto product off their website, if you use code HOON82, it will save you a little bit of money. You know, so do with that what you will. Not sponsored by them, but they did give me a code to try and help some people out, save a little bit of money. These tuners are rather expensive, so it will save you a good little chunk of change. At least some gas money, you know. It's going to save you some gas money, so once you get your bike tuned, you can go out and enjoy that freshly tuned bike. The first thing I want to talk about, we're going to save the topic of power for later, but the first thing I want to talk about that made the biggest change on this bike is simply the engine braking. Now, I did request, when you send your file into them, you can go in and say, you know, first, you got to fill out all the modifications been done to the bike, but you can also make a request if you want anything changed about the tune. And my big complaint was that this bike has way too much engine braking. It is absurd. When you let off the throttle on this bike stock, it wants to throw you into the tank. Rarely did I ever actually use the brakes in this bike. Riding around in the street, I would just downshift, especially having the quick shifter. I'd just downshift the bike and then would come to a stop. Maybe hit the brakes when you're doing like under 10 miles an hour, but yeah. They did change that, so there is less engine braking. It has made the bike a lot smoother. And frankly, the smoothness of it now, I think would be worth the tuner alone, because I don't know. If you rode a Daytona, you will notice how much engine braking these bikes have stock. And I've talked to other people that have Daytonas, and they agree that they think it's just too much. Riding around on the street, it is kind of nice, but I've got 5,000 miles on my bike here, and I kind of got used to things, so I can handle it. But in the beginning, going through like a corner, I mean, even still every now and then, you'd find yourself in a corner, and that transition phase from going off throttle to on throttle is very, very abrupt in this bike. And you have to actually run the chain on these things a little bit looser than some other bikes. So I don't know if that also has a factor in it, which I'm sure it does. You got slack in there. But the process on these things stock, going from no throttle to on the throttle, is very jerky. But I mean, you can let off now, and it's not like before it was almost like you were on the brakes before, but now it just kind of smoothly transitions into having some engine braking. There is still some, but it's not nearly like it was before. The next thing I want to talk about that is like a very noticeable change, that is the throttle. So these bikes are
you know, throttle by wire, so there's no connection with a cable to anything at all. It's all just done electronically. And I guess maybe from factory, Triumph's throttle always seemed like a bit of a progressive rate, where, you know, say if you were quarter throttle, maybe it was doing like 10%. It was almost like as you got to wide open, it really aggressively ramped up. Versus now, it's very linear. Everything about the bike feels smoother and linear. I do really like that. There's been some concerns people have with if they have a quick shifter, because if you do have a quick shifter, it's got to be programmed, but really it's not programming. It's already in the Triumph's ECU. You're simply just turning it on in the menu, so they didn't change anything about that. I don't think you have to worry about that at all. Essentially, you're copying your tune of your bike and then emailing that to them, and they're making adjustments on it accordingly. So whatever your bike had on it pre-tune, it should have on it post-tune. That's kind of what they explained to me about it, because I also was a little concerned. Not too bad, because I had the dealer tool to actually go in and re-enable the quick shifter, so it wasn't going to be the end of the world. But yeah, no, whatever you have on your bike pre-tune, you should have on your bike post-tune. In part 1, I did actually show you how to go through and hook everything up and do the electronics. When you're tuning it, it's pretty much the same thing. You're just downloading it on the little handheld and then uploading it on the bike. It's not that big of a deal. It took, on my bike, probably took, I think, about 10 minutes to upload the file. Not bad at all, did not take long. I did have a battery tender on the bike during that process, just in case it took a long time. I know if your battery dies during the process at all, it will lock your ECU. So that's no bueno. If you are going to be tuning your bike with their handhelds, they recommend that you use a battery tender in the process, so that way there's no chance of your bike dying, no chance of your ECU being bricked and locked up, because that would be no fun. I don't really know what you would do about that. I'm glad I don't have to find out. I'm tired of waiting. I can't speak to if you make more power. They claim they make more power. We're going to do some polls and test out the different times, but that's still not even like the greatest. I don't know. I don't have a dyno to put it on and say definitively this is what it changed. And I can't even verify that they have a perfect tune in it. But I will say, after entering in all my modifications, and they're supposed to account for that, the bike does seem to run smoother. It doesn't, there's no like pops, bangs, no nothing. I've done a few miles on it, did a couple pulls on it, and it runs really smooth. I don't know, it's so hard to say. We're talking a difference of maybe 5 overall horsepower. We're not talking like gigantic gains, but what I like about the tuner more than even the power factor of it is how smooth this bike is now. It's unbelievable. Even if you have a stock Daytona, I would recommend to you to get their tuner and reflash it, because the riding experience of this now is so much better. You just have nice, smooth, even power all the way through. You don't have any like jerking as you're letting off the throttle. It's just made it a lot better riding experience overall. That is a lot of people waiting to turn left. Don't worry, I'll speed up. I'll give you more time. Go for it. Go for it. Good luck to all you people. It's such a beautiful day out right now. It's just nice. It's like 70 degrees. A little windy. A little windier than I would like. But it's just, you couldn't ask for a better day to go for a ride. Way to go find somewhere to do a couple of pulls. In the previous video there, I did a couple 40 to 80 pulls, which I was actually surprised how the times that I got on it. If any of you guys out there watch Chase on Two Wheels, he's big on the 40-80 pulls on all of his bikes. And I ran almost a second faster than him. Go! Which I'm not going to claim that my bike makes more power with the mods. I might be a little bit lighter than Chase, but that's where I got the whole idea from, was to do a 40-80 pull. So in the last video, I did 2 40-80 pulls. I did one, the first one I did was in second gear, and I think that's going to be the best one to tell the difference, because we're going to see more of that mid-range gain, not necessarily all top end. But I did do a first gear one just for fun. They weren't all that drastically different, because the traction control was lighting up like crazy when I did the first gear pull, but we're gonna compare both the two. I think we get up here to a little flat spot and have a good line of sight. We'll see what we can do. You're gonna get ready. We're gonna be doing 40, and I'll try not to miss any shift. Ready? And go. That felt pretty good. That felt pretty good. Go. That felt pretty strong. Like I said, I don't really feel a whole lot of difference in overall power. It's more the smoothability and the rideability of the bike feels so much better. Let's see here. Can we get a spot? We can do a first gear. Oh yeah, the front wheel came way off the ground on that. That felt pretty quick. That one felt quicker than the pull pre-tune. I'm not gonna lie. That might just be because the front wheel was off the ground for quite a ways on that. Traction control doing a great job of keeping that under control. Now I'm really curious to see what the difference is, because again, I wasn't necessarily in it for the power aspect. I really just wanted to tune to try and accommodate for the modifications of the bike, like the filter and the exhaust. I can say, and when it's sitting there idling, you can smell a bit more fuel in the air as it's coming out, so I would say it has richened the tune up a decent amount. Definitely does smell different when you're sitting there idling. Is a good thing. I will take being a little richer rather than a little leaner any day of the week. Now I'm sure if I go to a actual dyno, they're gonna be able to tune the bike and they're gonna make the most power doing it that way. That's the best way to actually tune your motorcycle, is take it to a professional dyno shop and have them run it and tune it for everything that's done to your specific bike. Actually, I really don't have very many dyno shops anywhere nearby, if any, so that is an idea for another day. So if you do have a Daytona out there, I am gonna 100% recommend this tuner to you, just based off on how much more rideable the bike has become. I really like having less engine braking. That has made this thing so much more fun. When you have the quick shifter with the stock amount of engine braking, as you're going down the gears, it just like throws you forward every time you click down. Whereas now you can just downshift and it's smooth. You don't move around a whole lot. You do have some engine braking, but it's just not as abrupt and rough as it was before. Very, very happy with the results of this. If you own a Daytona, or if you own any other bikes, go ahead and check out the link below. I'll link BT Moto down below, so if you want to see if they have a tuner for your bike, you can go pick one up. And if you use code HOON82, it'll save you a little bit of money. That tune, the rideability overall, mwah, I think it's perfect. And I'm looking forward to maybe they coming out with the Stage 2 tune where we can potentially up some power. I don't know. We'll have to see that. And if you want to see that, hit that subscribe button, and it might be in the future. So, yeah. I'll see you guys later.